Hey everybody, my name is Stephanie Bree. Welcome back to my channel. My hair is rebelling against the laws of physics today. I don't know why. So I apologize for the fluffing, but it's irritating. Today I'm going to tackle an extremely controversial topic that is sort of in the middle of the physical versus digital debate, quotes, physical collecting allegedly being superior to streaming and digital consuming. And I have a rebuttal to both arguments, and you're not going to like my responses if you're on either side, but hear me out because I promise I might convince some of you that there is a better way to live. And there's a way to do what you want to do, but are afraid to do, without doing the thing you're afraid to do to get to the results you want. I'll elaborate, but I'll be very careful in the choosing of my language due to TOS. Because, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about people that sail on the ships and the parts of the web that you're not supposed to go to. And my argument is actually that digital collecting is actually the way to go, because you can still have a collection of movies, and I'm specifically talking movies here, but I'll tackle some other things as well. And you're gonna have people that'll bring up the well, when you buy a movie on Amazon, you don't own it, and I'm going to rebut that. And I'm also going to point out a few other ways that you can amass a digital collection of movies and have more movies in your collection than you would if you were just buying 4K Blu-rays or DVDs, for example. Or, God forbid, laser discs. Or you obnoxious freaks that are still buying VHS. Get over it. VHS is obsolete tech, and you have weird, fuzzy, incorrect childhood memories. The warm, fuzzy part of watching movies on tapes, yeah, sure, okay, but like they wear out and they look like ass. And there's so many reasons why VHS is stupid, and I'm not going to ever be polite to somebody that collects VHS for the purpose of watching movies. If you collect VHS because you think it's a neat tech and you want to have a bookshelf of VHS tapes, you know, for the nostalgic purposes or whatever, I'm not gonna rain on your parade. But if you actually you have a fucking Zenith 19-inch tube TV on your box in your living room, whatever your box is, and you're watching your preferred method of consuming movies is VHS, I'm calling you out. So you are probably going to give me a thumbs up and leave this video right now, because I'm not going to be friendly to you. So get lost. So everybody else, stick around. And I'm not talking about the person that pops in an occasional VHS tape for nostalgic purposes, but still prefers to primarily watch movies in these superior methods that we have today. You're fine. I'm talking about the person that only or primarily that collects VHS just to watch movies on VHS. What are you doing with your life? I mean, okay, fine. If that's what you want to do, I am judging you. But who am I? What do you care about me? Do you? You do you, and don't worry about me. I'm still going to look down on you, but that doesn't mean I hate you. It just means I think you have a mental deficiency you might want to talk to your therapist about. But let's talk about collecting. I do agree that streaming is fucked. And as a whole, we have arrived at a point where cable is too expensive and too limiting and too ancient in terms of the technology that we have grown accustomed to, and is no longer a viable product. I would not, if I had the money, I still wouldn't, and could afford it, I still wouldn't pay for cable because I would get nothing out of it. it would just be a waste of... I would just be giving the cable company money sort of as a tribute, I guess. Which I'm not going to do, because why the fuck would I? And this isn't really... I'm not really focused on cord cutters today, because I've got a whole video on how you can be an effective cord cutter without paying for streaming services at all. I may have already done that video, but I might have to update it, because either people need to be reminded, or things have changed, or, you know, whatever. There's new things out there. I don't know. But let's talk about collecting specifically. Now, I know that there are people that prefer collecting physical for two, and they have two arguments why they prefer physical. Well, sometimes three. But I'm going to say there's actually 5 major points that are at play here. So I'm going to go by each one by one. The first point that physical collectors always bring up is the accessibility, right? You can go to your video store or eBay or Walmart or whatever and buy movies that are on disc, whether it's DVD or Blu-ray based, I don't care. You can buy a disc and watch your movies that way, and you own it, and you have something physical that you can hold and put on your bookshelf, and they can't take away from you. And also, that argument goes along with there are movies that you can do that, buy right now and have, that aren't available on any streaming service at all, and therefore, if you're going the streaming method, you're SOL when trying to watch that movie, unless you're going to resort to, let's say, under the table methods. And then there's the digital library side of things. There are people who do, and I'm one of them, and I'm going to explain why I do, have massive digital collections. Because while you don't have a physical thing that you can touch, unless you count the mouse that you use to control your computer and access your files touching something, or your laptop, or your hard drive that they're stored on. So those are 3 things that you can touch. So that sort of negates the physical is better because you have something you can touch, because you can only touch the disc while you're taking it off the shelf and putting it in the DVD player. Once it's in the DVD player, you're no longer touching it, you're just consuming it. So once I'm touching the mouse to double click on the digital file and access it, I'm still touching something physical, tangible. So I have just negated your argument. But we'll move, and don't ignore this CD collection behind me. This is my sister's CD collection, and I just don't have the space in the house to move it. I have nowhere to move it to. So these are her CDs, these aren't mine. I do own CDs, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. Because most of what I'm going to say, I'm talking about movies, but some of this will apply to music as well. I'm not going to get into the what the fuck is wrong with people that collect vinyl records. I've already done that video. I've already harped on that enough. I'm over it. And yes, I am someone who has a small, selected collection of iconic vinyl records just for the purpose of having the record. Not something to fucking listen to, because that's not how you would listen to music, because it's garbage. If you want to listen to music, you don't listen to vinyl. One, you're destroying your record every time you play it, so let's get past it. I'm over it. I've already bitched about it enough. People who collect vinyl records, fine. People who listen to vinyl records, you're stupid. Okay? Get over it. You're stupid. Accept it. You are. And I'm not going to fucking talk to you about it. You just are. Okay? And I've already proven it with objective, provable scientific facts previously. But you guys prefer the, quote, warmth of the background noise that isn't supposed to be there, but you like it because it's there, because you're an idiot. That's not how music is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be enjoyed in a crisp, clear environment where you can hear the sounds that the artist produced, not cover them up with background noise. But whatever. Get over it. But I've already bitched about that enough. I'll do another video ranting about why vinyl is stupid and collecting records is stupid again. But that's the last of it you're gonna get in this video. But moving on. If you're still watching this, if you're like, okay, why shouldn't I buy DVDs? I didn't say don't buy DVDs. But I'm gonna give you a reason why you shouldn't collect DVDs. And why digital is superior. And again, once you get past the something tangible to hold on to, which it's like you're not, again, you put it on a bookshelf, you're not touching it, you're not holding on to it, it's just on a bookshelf. You can create a thumbnail for your digital movie files, your MKVs or whatever, on your laptop, and put them in folders and put icons over the folders and have the poster art and the DVD covers and all that. So you're not losing anything by putting them on a digital bookshelf on your computer in a folder. You could even use there are programs out there. I don't remember what the word of the program is. I want to say front ends, but I don't know if that's the correct word. But there are programs out there that, like virtual libraries, that you can set up a little virtual living room and have all of your DVDs on it, your digital files arranged as DVDs on a shelf. So if you need to recreate that experience, you can. And I'm going to tell those people, great, good for you. You've evolved as humans like the rest of us and have accepted we live in a digital age. Get over it. The Luddites are the ones that are going to go extinct, and the rest of us are going to move on into the future. But let's get past the Luddites. The Luddites have already turned this video off and are now watching old VHS tapes they recorded off of MTV 35 years ago because I pissed them off. So good riddance. And then the rest of them I pissed off with my, if you listen to vinyl records, you're a dumbass. Those people have already turned this video off. So good. Now the rest of you who are actually intelligent and aren't Luddites can enjoy the information I'm going to give you. And the Luddites that stuck around, maybe you're going to do like what Christians do when they realize evolution is true and, accept the truth and then just move on to a world where they can coexist. And you're going to be like, okay, cool, I can still have my vinyl records and my DVDs and Blu-rays, but hey, maybe I can have a digital collection, and it's actually not that bad. And it's the storefronts is the biggest problem people bitch about. To amass a digital collection, and they always say, well, you don't own those digital files. Well, that's not true. You do, but I'm gonna tackle that. But it's the acquiring digital files, right? Movies on digital. Now, there are more movies available to buy on digital. And I'm saying, I'll give you more than one storefront. I'm going to say Vudu, but it's not called Vudu anymore. I don't know what it's called, but the store still exists. You can Google yourself, what is Vudu now, and you'll get the storefront. You can still buy movies on Vudu. It's just not called Vudu anymore. You can still buy movies on PlayStation and Xbox. So if you have those consoles, I have a fly on my camera. You can still buy movies. I believe you can still buy movies on iTunes, but any movie you previously bought on iTunes is still accessible. So you didn't lose that. And of course, we all know you can buy movies on Amazon. Amazon Prime. You can buy digital movies from Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime video for purchase has a more massive selection than most of the movies you're going to be able to buy on DVD, and you can buy an obscure out-of-print movie that has a digital for purchase on one of the digital stores. For example, Double Dragon, for a reasonable $10-15, and you have a digital copy. We'll get back to we'll get back to why buying movies or acquiring a digital collection is superior in a minute, because I am going to give you a bone. Those of you that have to have something on your bookshelf, I'm going to explain to you why you can still do that. But you have the alternative to downloading through a digital store, purchasing a digital copy of Double Dragon, spending $50-60 on an out-of-print DVD, and you're getting an out-of-print DVD that may or may not suffer from disc rot, and you're getting an out-of-print DVD that is at least 25 years old at this point, And they're not printing new Double Dragon DVDs. That movie is out of print. And whoever owns the rights to Double Dragon has not reissued it. So if you want to watch Double Dragon, and I'm using that as a specific example because I paid $50 on eBay to get a pristine DVD copy of Double Dragon because it was the only way to purchase it, because it was fucking out of print. But if you want to go that route, you're spending 40, 50, 60 bucks on a disc that may not even have a functional copy of the movie. Congratulations, you got a piece of plastic. Oops. But if you just go to the digital storefront, iTunes, Amazon, Apple, whatever, and just buy the fucking movie, 10, 15 bucks, and you got it. But you're like, but wait a minute. The TOS says that I don't own that. Well, you back it up to a hard drive. There's no DRM in these movies. You back them up. And even the ones that do have DRM, you can remove the DRM yourself very easily. I'm not going to tell you how, but I am going to say this. There are tools out there. You can use, I don't know, Google, Bing, etc., YouTube, hint, hint, wink, wink, to discover how to use these tools. And they're not hard to use. And assuming you're a 4K collector, and you have a computer, desktop, laptop, whatever, that is capable of playing back 4K movies, or you happen to be a gamer that has a laptop, desktop, etc., that is capable of playing, like, modern video games. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Probably GTA 5, I guess, on max settings with no lag and 60 FPS or better. You've got a computer that is more than powerful enough to handle this. But if you've got a Pentium 4 or better, that's it. That's the benchmark. A Pentium 4 or better, you already have a computer that can do all the things I'm saying you can do, and it's not going to be an inconvenience. Especially if you understand the concept of multitasking. And you don't have to have a computer that has multi-threading to multitask. Let me explain. You see, what I'm talking about is converting your digital files that you purchase from the store, iTunes, Apple, Amazon, etc., Voodoo, or whatever Voodoo's called these days. Voodoo's a little trickier because they don't actually let you download a digital file anymore, but there's a workaround to that too. It's called screen capture. You just play the movie and then record your screen, and then you now have a recording of the movie. And there are screen recorders that will do that regardless of the DRM of the film you're recording from, the service that you're watching. You can even do this with Netflix and Warner, and whatever Warner's called these days. I don't know, HBO Max or Plus or Minus or whatever, etc. Now, you might have to do some digging to find a screen recording device or capture card or desktop recorder or whatever that will allow you to do this, but it can be done. So you can actually get DRM-free, digital, pristine, 4K, 8K, whatever you're accessing the video files from, whatever, assuming you have the hardware to record at that resolution and capture it, and etc., then you're good to go. You just record off of Netflix or whatever service, and you can use video editing software, Sony Vegas, Adobe Premiere. Don't use the Apple one. I can never remember what it's called because it's garbage and you shouldn't use it. Sidebar, if you're using Apple products, just stop, please, for the love of God. The pros and cons of Windows over Apple are exponentially in favor of Windows, even if you're going to get into the whole, but they do things with my computer without my permission. Okay, so explain to me what permissions Apple gives you, fuckface. They don't. And they're doing the same goddamn thing Windows is doing anyways. They're still forcing updates on people, and they're not doing anything that you can criticize Windows for doing, Apple does anyways. So it's not better. They don't get viruses. The fuck they don't. Yeah, they fucking do. But you know what? I've been on Windows since the beginning of time, and I've never got a virus once in my life. If you're getting viruses, You're doing something stupid. It's your fault you got a virus. Viruses don't just happen. You don't just get a cold or the flu or COVID. You get a cold or the flu or COVID because you exposed yourself to somebody else that has it. If you're not exposing yourself to potential carriers, you're never going to get it. If you're not exposing your laptop to potential threats, they're never going to get threats. Also, there's this thing called antivirus software and other types of security measures, which you should be using even if you are on a Mac. But, you know, all right. This isn't why Macs are stupid and people that buy Macs are stupid, because they are. And the people who buy Macs are stupid. And I'm never going to budge on that because you're an idiot. And I don't care for you and you don't register in my brain because you're a fucking idiot. Stop using Macs. But if you don't want to use Windows, there are 10,000 Linux versions out there that are better than Mac. Everything that isn't Mac is better than Mac. And there's versions of Mac that are better. There's unofficial knockoffs of Mac that are better than Mac. Basically, nothing is worse than Mac. Amiga OS is better than Mac, okay? Fucking Commodore 64 is better than Mac. Jesus goddamn fucking Christ to hellballs. Fuck Mac. God damn it. There's nothing more on this planet that I hate than Mac, and that's not true. But in this exact moment, I hate Mac. Moving on. So if you have the right tools, you can acquire these digital, pristine 4K, 8K, whatever, 3D, whatever, files without sailing the high seas, which is the shortcut, by the way. If you want to just do that, do that. I'm not going to tell you how or what that means. You're just going to have to read between the lines. But, hey, I'm not going to tell you you can't do it. I don't know what country you live in or what the laws are where you live. I'm just going to say that some people do that. It's an option. But I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to take the digital files that already exist and under the DMCA of the United States, and I don't know what the laws are in your country, but under the DMCA of the United States, you can legally do this. This is legal, YouTube. So don't put a community comment on my video or flag this or whatever. I'm not advocating piracy. I'm just advocating removing DRM and making legal backups of the files you've legally purchased, which you can legally do. And that does include capturing videos off of streaming services that you're legally paying for, because that's the same that the Supreme Court already legally said you could do in 1981, or whatever year it was, when they said you could record videos off of the television that you're already paying for to put them on blank VHS tapes that you've already paid for. Once you've already paid for it, you have the legal right to have a copy of it forever. So these assholes that tell you that digital is not the way to go because you don't own anything are wrong. Because you do, and if you're smarter than the companies, you can find a way, like I did. I have 10,000 movies on my hard drives, all legally acquired. Most of them are in at least 1080p or 720p, and a few of them are in 4K. This laptop can't display 4K, but my next one will. My previous one could, and I don't care. My laptop screen isn't big enough for me to care about 4K anyways. It isn't even really big enough for 1080p, but I still get movies in 1080p because, you know, there's still better color depth in a 1080p over a 480p, but I'm okay with 480p. I'm okay. I've got a lot of videos that are in 320p, and I'm okay with that too, because I'm on a 15-inch screen. But that's just me. But I also have an HDMI cable that I can connect this to my high-definition TV and watch my high-definition movies on the big screen relative to the size of the space I live in. And by the way, if you download digital files in 8K and you have a pristine permanent copy that will never rot, there's no disc rot, and you don't have to worry about scratches or breaks or cracks or the cat or the toddler destroying your collection, or a flood or environmental factors like dust, cockroaches, an earthquake, a hurricane, etc., destroying your precious physical collection, then you have it forever. And you're going to say digital files aren't forever. Well, actually, you can make copies of digital files, backups. You can have more than one hard drive. You can put some of them on the cloud. If you're willing to pay for cloud services, or if you're smart and you have multiple Google accounts and multiple Microsoft accounts, you can have multiple cloud accounts, wink wink, and have unlimited online cloud storage, and then just back everything up to the cloud, and then download as needed, and then back them up to multiple. This thing right here, this is a 256 gigabyte flash drive. I paid like $18 for it, Best Buy. You know how many 4K movies you can fit on a 256K flash drive? Just have a bucket of these. Just have like 500 of these. You're welcome. I just solved your problem. I solved all your problems. These fucking things are dirt ass cheap, and you can buy them all day long. And these are cheap. You can get one of these for less money than a single 4K movie, Blu-ray, or maybe 2 or 3 Blu-rays. And you could squeeze hundreds of 4K, 8K files on this son of a bitch. Now you've saved space, and you can get rid of your bookshelf, or put knickknacks on it, or your action figure collection, or your vinyl records. Vinyl records. Goddamn vinyl records. I don't know who to blame for vinyl. I don't know if it's the goddamn boomers, or the fucking millennials, my generation, or you asshole Gen Zs. The asshole Gen Zs. Not all Gen Zs are assholes, but the ones who are assholes. I don't know who's buying vinyl records, or who to blame for the resurgence of vinyl records. Whoever it is, fuck you. CDs are superior, but we're moving past that. But you can still amass a ginormous 4K, 8K digital collection, or 480p, 720p, 1080p, whatever your heart desires, whatever is adequate for you. If you're okay with VHS quality, then download DVD files off of these services. The DVD quality, you can save some money buying SD versions if you don't buy the 4K or 8K versions from these digital services. You know, sometimes the SD version costs the same as the the HD version, but whatever, you do you. Buy the 8K version, rip it, remove the DRM, and then re-encode it to a smaller file if you want. You can do that legally, at least in the US, or in most countries. I don't know what country you live in, but, follow the laws of the country you do live in. But you can still do that. And it's legal. And it's okay. Because flash drives are dirt fucking cheap. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get SSD drives. You can get hard drives. It's not, you can fucking do it, put them on SD cards, Just buy 764 gigabyte SD cards, and then back up your collections to those, and then have all of your, James Cameron movies on one SD card, etc. There you go. I solved your problem. And saved you a shit ton of space in your living room, or bedroom, or wherever your collection is taking up space. You can now replace that space with action figures, or get rid of the bookshelf and have space for something else. Maybe a pinball machine. You're welcome. And now you're sitting there like, I really want a pinball machine, but I don't want to get rid of my DVD collection. Well, now you can. And you can get that pinball machine. You're welcome. I just improved your life, and you lost nothing. You still have all of your movies. You still have all of your pristine 4K, 8K quality, DRM free, saving astronomical space savings, because if you had enough of these, or even SSDs, to fill up a bookshelf, you've got more storage space than it takes to archive the entire history of digital movie, of cinema, worldwide. You'll never need that much space. But if you want to dedicate a small bookshelf to your hard drives, and back everything up that way, you can. You don't have to do hard drives. You can get a Blu-ray burner. I have one, by the way. They're not that expensive. You can get a USB Blu-ray burner for like 40, 50, 60 bucks off of the places. You can go to Best Buy and Walmart and probably get one. They're not that expensive. The Blu-ray discs, depending on what drive you buy, you can get 25 gigabyte, 50 gigabyte, 100 gigabyte discs. They're not that expensive. You could go back in time to when we used to download movies off of the internet, however we did, and put them onto CDs or DVDs back in the day when you used to buy stacks. Remember when we used to buy stacks of DVDs? You can do that and make duplicates, and you can have 7 copies of Double Dragon on 4K Blu-ray backed up, and you can have actual backups. You could do that too, which I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but before I do, I want to give you an alternative method that isn't setting up complicated software to stream the movie from Netflix and then record it to your hard drive and then remove the DRM and then re-encode it and put it on in a folder. You already have your DVDs, your Blu-rays, your 4Ks, and I'm assuming you have a compatible disk drive in your machine, your laptop or your desktop that you're watching movies on. I'm going to assume, because you're probably not using your PlayStation for that or your dedicated Blu-ray player, because well, you could be, but I'm going to assume, again, just spend 50 bucks as a minimal investment to get the DVD drive, the Blu-ray recorder drive, etc. And here's what you do. You take the disc, you put it into your computer, and using this same software, you make a backup. You can make it as a full ISO image, and you have the entire disc, special features, menus, and all, backed up to your computer. You put it on this thing. You buy like 25 of these, and you're good. You're done. You've backed up your entire... And it'll take you a while. I'm not going to lie. But I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. And you have your entire DVD, Blu-ray, 4K collection of physical discs that you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, which you are wasting money doing this. But now you have them backed up. This is what I did, by the way. I bought hundreds and hundreds and thousands of DVDs and Blu-rays and backed them up. And now you're thinking, okay, yeah, it does take a little bit of time to figure out. There are forums, do some research. It takes about a day to locate the right software, set it up, learn it, trial and error, make 2 or 3 attempts before you figure out the right settings, and then you're good to go. Once you do that, it takes about a day. This is 1 day of your life. You invest 1 day, and now you have an infinite supply of digital copies, backups of all your DVDs, your Blu-rays, your 4Ks. Now, let's say you don't want to get rid of that original copy. I'm saying you back it up, you got a digital copy, you can access it a lot quicker, a lot easier, and it's portable, and you can access it if you have the right knowledge on your phone, your tablet, your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Switch, whatever, because all of these different systems have ways of sharing files and streaming and casting files. So you can play it from your... you can have it playing on your laptop, desktop, your PC. I'm just going to say PC from now on. But watch it on your TV. And there's or your phone or your tablet. There's ways to do this. So if you know what you're doing, there's ways to do this. And now you can be at the dentist office watching your actual 4K Blu-rays, the actual 4K Blu-ray that you bought on your tablet, assuming you have a tablet that can do 4K, or at least you're getting, whatever your tablet can do, 720p, 1080p, whatever's appropriate, while you're waiting at the dentist, and you didn't have to log into Netflix. You're welcome. I've now just improved your life again and enhanced your experience. Again, setting this up and learning how to do it is going to take about 2 or 3 hours of your day. Okay, invest that time. And then once you've done that, you now have access to your own private Netflix that has every movie and TV show you've ever wanted, never expires, never goes away. The discs never rot. They never scratch. They never break. They never get erased by floods or sun damage or whatever, or the cat doesn't eat them. Hello? I'm saving you. I'm improving your life. And you can still have the original physical backup that you bought on a shelf or in a vault or in a safe, protected and preserved. And now you have digital files. And again, if you're just ripping the ISOs, you're having the exact one-to-one what you had on the DVD or Blu-ray is now on your computer and you can access it. But ISOs take up a lot of disk space. Then just buy 5 more of these. 6 more of these. These are $20. Christ. If you can spend $20 on a 4K Blu-ray and get 1 movie, you can spend $100 on 4 of these. 5 of these. I don't know math. And then, there you go. Shut up. This is a tremendous space-saving, cost-saving, and once you get in the habit and you just do this, it becomes like just second nature and you just do it automatically. And now you have access to your pristine 4K files anywhere you go that you have your tablet or phone and have access to Wi-Fi, assuming you've set up your network correctly and you have your server casting correctly. Then there you go. You're good. You're done. You don't have to do anything else. You can be on a train, assuming there's Wi-Fi, and on your way to work watching your 4K movies from your computer at home that you bought off your Blu-ray shelf. The actual Blu-ray without having to bring a portable Blu-ray player with you. I'm not going to tell you how to do these things, but I know for a fact you can because I do these things. These are things I do in my day-to-day life because I'm not an idiot. I want to be able to have pristine copies of my movies, my TV shows, and access them anywhere and not have to log into Netflix and pay them a monthly subscription because I don't have a job right now because of my disabilities and my health conditions. So I can't afford to pay Netflix. And I'm not going to have the headache of, oh my God, I've been binging this show on Netflix and now it's expired and they removed it off to the service. And I'm on season 4 out of 12 and I don't know what happens to Anne. Is she going to get AIDS or not? Because she had sex with that counselor. And I'm desperate to know, is Anne okay? But I'll never know because Netflix took my favorite show off of the service. And now I have to Google which service did my show move to. And then I have to decide, do I want to cancel Netflix and go subscribe to that service so I can finish watching the show to find out what happens to Anne? Or do I have to pay an additional monthly fee to have 2 services or 3 services? Oh my God, I'm saving you a headache. I don't know what TV show out there is a character named Anne who may or may not have had sex with a cat counselor and ended up getting or not getting HIV. I'm assuming Degrassi. I watch a lot of Degrassi, but I don't know. I'm assuming there's a show out there that scenario is played out. But you know what I'm saying. Stranger Things. If you don't want to buy Stranger Things on DVD, but you also don't want to go fishing for it, and you don't want to pay Netflix for it, what do? Well, here's what you do. You go to the library, and you see if they have a copy of it, and then you check it out from the library for free, or you see if your library has access to digital movies, or the Internet Archive, or other places where you actually can legally access digital movies and TV shows, and then you just pick it up from there, or back it up from there. Or you pay for a month of Netflix, and then you just do what I said. You back up all the shows and movies that you want, and then you have your copies, and the DMCA says you can do this, and then you did it, and then now you have backups, you have copies. Because making a digital recording of your service is legally the same as recording it off of HBO onto a VHS tape, which the courts have already decided you can do. And since you already have that legal right, why aren't you doing it? Now, obviously, this is a way to save space because once you do this, you can just put all your DVDs, your discs in a safe space. You can put them in a spindle or in a CD wallet and save space and compact them, which is what I did. I still have my physical discs to have a physical thing I can point to if the FBI ever says, hey, why are you watching The Avengers on your laptop when your DVD isn't in sight? Well, here's my, I can pull out the DVD wallet, flip to the right page, and go, bam! DMCA, bitch, I have a copy, and I'm allowed to have a backup. So, fuck off, FBI. And I was able to get all my DVDs off my bookshelf, and now my bookshelf is full of Ninja Turtles and Transformers. So, yay. Yay me. Because I would rather be looking at a collection of action figures than a collection of plastic. This shit. If I could get rid of this and replace it with, like, Unicron right here, or the Technodrome right here, I would. But my sister won't let me move this because this is her house, and this is her where she has designated the space for her CDs, so I can't do that. If this was my house and I had the right to do that, I would. This would be a Technodrome or a Unicron action figure behind me, not a stack of plastic. Everything I said about movies and TV shows, however you acquire them, video, CD, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, streaming, etc., Apple, iTunes, Amazon Prime, Vudu, whatever, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, however you access these files, however you legally acquire them and have them copied to your hard drive, flash drive, SD card, the cloud, or your server, or whatever you do, once you've done that, you could get rid of the physical copies if you're so inclined. But wait, what? Or you can put them in a safe space. You know, put them in a vault or I don't know, safety deposit box at the bank or a storage shed downtown. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. You can get them out of your house, or at least get them out of your living room and have space for other things. Maybe you don't collect Ninja Turtles. Maybe you don't collect Transformers. What's wrong with you? Maybe you collect, I don't know, wrestling action figures. Okay, now you can fill your bookshelf up with all of the Shinsuke Nakamura variants that you have. There you go. You're welcome. And I've already solved the other complaints. You don't legally own digital copies. Actually, you do, and you have a legal right to make backups. I've already solved that problem. You have nothing physical or tangible to touch. I've already solved that problem. But let's say you do all of this, and you have them. You have the original discs. You're using that as your source because you've already got this collection. You already have them in your house. Just make backups, and now you have an easy access point to your collection. You don't have to make them as ISOs. You can split them up into MPEGs or, MPEG. I'm saying MPEG. MP2s, MP4s, MKVs, AVIs, whatever codec you want to use. If you don't want to back up the full ISOs. By the way, you can also back up the menus and the special features and all the Easter eggs and stuff too if you're so inclined, and you can have a flash drive dedicated to just the interviews and behind the scenes documentaries and special features. You can, when you're encoding the movie and ripping it from the disc, you can make multiple audio, you can embed multiple audio files, so you can have the director's commentary and you can even add the riff tracks if you want yourself, and then you can just choose when you boot it up, your media player, you boot it up. Today I want to watch the movie. Tomorrow I want to watch the director's commentary, and then on Tuesday I want to watch the riff tracks. You have one physical digital copy on a physical thing touching your physical laptop or desktop, your PC. Then you control with the physical mouse. You still have a physical, tangible thing you can touch. If you really need the tactile expression, you're still touching your tablet. If you're tapping the icon to boot the file that way, there's still a physical thing you can touch if you need the tactile response. Because again, once you've started the movie or TV show, put the disc in the player and hit play, you're no longer touching the disc anymore. The player is reading the disc. You're not touching anything, presumably. I don't want to know what you're touching once that happens. None of my business. And you have a permanent backup that you can make copies of. You can make backups of your backups. Instead of buying one of these, buy two. And then just make a backup of this. And then buy a third one and make backups of it. It's not that fucking hard. And it doesn't cost that much money. And it, in the long run, is going to save you money. And you could do the ethical thing and recycle all of those DVDs. And then now you're helping save the environment. Again, you're welcome. Also, you're welcome, Earth. Because you're still using electricity to access your digital files or your physical copies by putting them in a physical player and running the electricity to operate the components within that player and turn on the TV. So you're not saving electricity doing this. You're not wasting any more. You're using no more and no less electricity to do this than you already were. But you are theoretically saving plastic, recycling plastic, etc. Which does have a tangible, real-world, net positive environmental effect. So again, in that capacity, especially if you are worried about the environmental impact of your DVD or Blu-ray collection, now you can rest easy. Now let's say you decide, you spent all this money on a digital projector and you want, or a Blu-ray player or a PlayStation 5 or whatever, and you get the itch. You get nostalgic, right? You don't want to just double click the mouse. You want to actually take the disc off the shelf and put it in the player and navigate the menus. Well, remember when I said if you kept your discs and you just save space by putting them in a spindle or a CD wallet or some other enclosure where they're not going to be touched and harmed by the environment, and you're not moving them all the time and risking getting fingerprints and scratches and dust on them, or UV rays, etc., damaging them further. So now they're preserved and backed up and safely archived, and they're not going to rot. They're fine. They're preserved. Once you've done that, but you get the itch, well, you've already put all of your CD wallets in the storage shed, and you don't want to go outside and unlock the storage shed. And then bring them back into the house or drive down to the storage unit or wherever you're storing them. But you decide you want to watch Age of Ultron on a 4K disc. Well, remember when I said, because in order to do this, you presumably bought a device. It's called a Blu-ray drive to rip the files and make the digital backups in the first place. It works in reverse. You can now, assuming you have a stack of blank discs on a spindle somewhere that you're going to use, presumably to make tangible backups in case of an emergency of, let's say, hard drive failure, or the cloud company that you're paying for or not paying for, if it's like Google or Microsoft or whoever, because they have free tiers, goes out of business and the cloud shuts down, and oops. Well, now you can just, you're gonna be making tangible physical copies to have a third backup. Remember I said back up your backups? But let's say you decided you want to take that blank disc, and instead of putting a whole bunch of ISOs or let's say MKVs on that disc, you stick it in, and you have the disc image, right? The whole disc image. You just go into your program and tell it to copy that disc image to this disc, and then you can get a label maker and print a label. And now you have a physical copy that looks identical to the disc you put in storage. And you can print the you could either print the sleeves, or maybe you took them out of the cases to throw the cases away or put them in storage. Whatever you did, or you just kept them in the case and put it. You can now take the case out of wherever the storage is, put it back in, and then you can have a smaller bookshelf of just like your favorite movies that, for whatever reason, you want to have some, just for nostalgic purposes, you want to have something you can pull off the shelf and stick in the drive. You can still do that. You've lost nothing. Or, even if you don't want to go that route, or you're acquiring, let's say, Stranger Things or something else off of the Netflix that doesn't have, or something that off of Netflix that doesn't have a DVD release or a Blu-ray release. And now you can make your own Blu-rays legally because you're allowed to do that. So now you have your own we'll say bootleg copy, but it's not illegal. It's not a pirate copy. Bootleg just means that it's not an official reproduction, but it is a legal reproduction. So you now have a legal reproduction that is indistinguishable to the naked, untrained eye from the one that you paid $60 for off of the eBay or Amazon or Best Buy or wherever you buy your discs. And there you go. I've solved all your problems, and now you can have a infinite, never expiring, permanent backup, permanent accessible digital library collection, if you will, of all your favorite movies, TV shows, cartoons, anime, adult films, comic books, movies, whatever you want. You can now have that. A permanent backup, incorruptible backup that will never go anywhere. And I say permanent because obviously I'm assuming that you're going to buy a new hard drive every 3 to 5 years and then copy your files over to it. And then copy, don't move. You don't take them off of the old hard drive, put them on the new hard drive, and then wipe the old hard drive. You buy you have everything back up to a 4 terabyte hard drive, and in 3 to 5 years you buy a 12 terabyte hard drive. You back up and consolidate all your 4 terabyte hard drives and put them now on the new 12 terabyte hard drive that's got more life in it, and then you just set aside or preserve, put the other hard drives in storage safely so that you at least presumably have a permanent backup. And then you also buy a few of these and some Blu-ray discs, and you make backups of those, and you make backups of your backups. You know the old adage of computers that if you have 2 backups, you have 1. If you have 3, you have 2. If you have 1, you have none. Hard drives fail. Computers fail. Technology fails. Discs break. PlayStations crap out. Tablets, they fall into the toilet with the cell phone. It happens. So, now you have a permanent, incorruptible, undamageable backup that is pristine and will never lose quality forever. And then in 25 years, when you decide now you live in a bigger house and you've got all the money in the world and you decide you want to fill your bookshelves with discs, but you don't want to go spending all that money buying them again, like I said, you just make new physical backups. You make you burn new discs and print new labels and put them on inserts that you printed off of wherever you got them. Maybe you scanned them yourself with your own scanner, because if you have a printer in your house, you probably have a scanner built into the printer, most likely, or you have other ways of scanning your things. It's not that hard. Or you spend $20 doing it at Office Depot or whatever. Great, good. You're welcome. I have just saved your entire physical collection of movies and TV shows and anime, etc., CDs, comic books, whatever. They're going to last forever. You now have a snap of the fingers. You can access it from anywhere in the world as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection on any device that can connect to the Wi-Fi, assuming you have the correct apps. If you know what you're doing, you should. And then there you go. Now, when you're on a plane going from New York to, France, you can still watch your actual 4K files at home, assuming you're paying for the Wi-Fi while you're on the plane. It's up to you. I don't know. You do you. There you go. And you don't have to log into Netflix ever again. You don't have to spend $60 on eBay to get a pristine copy of an out-of-print DVD or Blu-ray ever again. And now I've saved you space, money. I've improved your life. I've given you accessibility options that are infinitely superior to just having a Blu-ray sitting at home that you can't access on the train or the bus or the plane or at McDonald's or the dentist's office. But now you can. And you've got permanent backups that are never, ever going to disc rot or get scratched. Because assuming you're smart, like I am, and you're doing what I'm telling you to do, You have your primary drive that you're using to access these files when you want to watch them, and then a backup of that drive for when the primary drive fails. Now your backup becomes your primary, and then you back it up, and then you just continue to do that. It's a never-ending cycle. But hard drives, flash drives, SD cards are considerably less expensive and take up infinitely less space than actual physical disks. Now, I know I've already done a similar video to this previously, so that some people are going to be like, didn't you already make this video? I did, but there's new information that I wanted to put out there, or I wanted to update it for those that maybe forgot or didn't know, or for the people that didn't see that first video and they wanted a refresher. Sometimes you have to do these things because of the algorithm, and people are, well, you know, we have like the attention span of a fruit fly, so we sometimes need to be reminded of things. So that's what this is. Stay cool. Digital is better than physical, if you know what you're doing, because you can still have the physical archived, preserved copy not being damaged, if you know what the fuck you're doing, like I do. I'm not going to tell you how many movies I have on this thing that allowed me to free up my space on my bookshelf to get rid of all those Blu-rays and DVDs so I could put more Ninja Turtles on that shelf space. It was enough, I'll tell you that. And that's just one of these. I've got others. It was enough that I have a bookshelf full of action figures instead of plastic. Discs. Coasters, if you will. Oh, but I want the poster. Then just go to Hot Topic and buy the fucking poster. And hang it on your wall. And now you've got like a fucking massive poster that your aging eyes can see all day long, instead of just like when you pull it off of the shelf and look at it for the 30 seconds it takes for you to put it in the DVD player, set it on your coffee table, and forget about it. It's not like you're staring at your DVD. If your DVDs are on a bookshelf anyways, you're looking at the spines like this. You're not actually looking at the cover art like this, because you don't do that. You're watching the fucking movie. The poster is sitting on a bookshelf you can't see. And then when you're watching the movie and the poster is sitting on the coffee table. So just buy the fucking poster and hang it on your wall. There you go. You're welcome. Now, go do what I said to do, and you'll thank me later. And if you're too stupid, ignorant, arrogant, stubborn to do all those things, then the next time you go to put in your out-of-print copy of Harry Met Sally and it doesn't play on your disc because of disc rot, you're going to wish you had listened to me. Because now you got to track down another copy that you have to buy again.